You guys want to see how a $12 part cost me 5 days of lost time, revenue, and other headaches? Stay tuned. What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining me on another video. Today I'm going to show you how this stupid little $12 part here, well, probably $2 right here and $10 right here for this solid metal plug. So here I am at the front of my engine. Now what was going on is I had an oil leak and I spotted it from underneath. I spent a day underneath trying to trace it, no luck. Then I ran the truck, revved it up. Then I was able to follow it. And I followed the wetness all the way up to my accessory plate here that holds the two idle pulleys and the tensioner pulley, and the alternator mounts right here. So I followed the wetness all the way up behind this accessory block pulley holder, big old aluminum thing that sits right here, and went to take it off and looked around and had the truck running, and was going back and forth because of course you don't have an alternator or your water pump running, so you have to keep an eye on a temp gauge. But anyway, I was rushing back and forth, and about 15 minutes of it, the truck idling, the truck was cold to start off with. So I mean, then after about 10 minutes I felt the block. It was really warm, and I thought, that I would see the leak better. Well, no leak. And previous to all this, as you could see, everything was cleaned with carburetor cleaner. I got 80% of the gunk off, except some right here, to see where the leak was coming from. So after about 15 minutes, I had to rev up the engine to get some pressure built up. Because what was leaking under pressure, it will not leak under idle. Maybe a little bit you'll get it depending how bad your seal is. But under pressure with more oil pressure, it's this plug right here. There's a little stupid O-ring, probably $2. And then they give you a new plug. I went to the Ford dealership and I was surprised how cheap it was. It was like $12.50 out the door. But anyway, after revving it up, I went here to the front and I started seeing the seepage because of the RPMs were up, so there was more pressure in this head. And the oil was running down here, down this tube. So the front passenger side, front half, which to the oil fill cap right here. Okay. So underneath my head, it was wet. Of course, when you're driving, it's going to take the oil back, the force, of course, it's going to spread. But the majority of the leak, the wetness, was from the passenger front half. So the corner of this motor underneath there is wet. As you could probably still see my cross brace there, how it's covered. Okay, the other side is completely dry. There's nothing. And it just drove me nuts for days. I couldn't figure it out because the truck was idling and, there was enough pressure for it to really come out and see. But yeah, if you're having any kind of small oil leak, easiest way is to just follow the wetness. And when it stops, that's going to be your general location where you're going to start cleaning. Brake fluid, degreaser, brake cleaner, a heavy-duty degreaser, get the area cleaned off, all the gunk, and then run the motor. Of course, pay attention to the temp gauge because you're not running your water pump. So, It's easier to do it with two people. Have one in a cab. You know, they might rev up the engine for you and keep an eye on a temp while the other person is on the outside here underneath the hood and finding the leak. But yeah, I was surprised. So all this work, you know, all this pulleys and this whole bracket is a freaking nightmare right here. And I'm also redoing all my pulleys on this mounting bracket, the 2 idle pulleys and a tensioner pulley. The way to remove this bracket is you have to remove 1 pulley. I believe it was the idle pulley right here. That has to come off so you can get to the bolt of the bracket that goes into the block, this bolt here. You have to remove the pulley first. So basically all the pulleys came off. And I'm just going to replace them because I don't want to go through the nightmare. They were 28 bucks a piece. Just going to redo it just to be on a safe side because I do use this truck for work and I don't want to run into an issue. And like I said, it's a pain in the ass trying to remove this bracket and also, you know, get these pulleys off because they're so close to the fan. So if they're off, you can afford it. I recommend redo all your pulleys while you have this off if you have a leak. But yeah, keep your eye on this plug here. I have 3 of these trucks, and this was the first time that this seal went on this plug. I never had any issues with these O-rings, with these plugs to the high pressure oil rail here. All right, so there you go. There's the old one on the right and the new one on the left. So as you could see where the leak was coming from, it's just disintegrated, and the new one on the left. Now there is a slight difference in height. Now I got this from the Ford dealership, but there is a slight difference in height there. So I think I might take my original O-ring off of there and put that blue one on the right one and use that plug. Because I don't know if that slight bit of difference there, the height, is going to make a difference or not. All right, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and see you on the next video.